4th, 2025 at 9 a.m. First, we have the 2026 healthcare benefit options, discussion of the whole.
First, Noelle and I have to give you the information that we got on Monday afternoon, and then you guys will have a discussion of the whole. I will let the audience know, too, we have several microphones that I don't know if they were dead, not charged, or not holding a charge, so there will be sharing of microphones right now, but will be fixed by the next meeting. So, Noelle and I had our meeting yesterday with Jennifer Pettison and the group at Advantage Benefits. They are our third-party administrator, if you haven't had a chance to meet them yet. I provided a couple bits of information to you, and the very first page, that's apparently you need magnifying glasses to read, is essentially what our renewal at our current benefits is. So that is the overall cost to continue the plans that are currently in place for Roscommon County. No big surprises with the addition of the cost for HSA and HRA. Those both went up roughly 9.5% over last year. So the premiums on the BCN plans were capped at the 8.9 as promised. And then the increases in HSA went up
$50 and
$100, yes,
respectively, to the single or two-person family accounts.
Yep, and that is through the IRS guidelines. So not something that we control or BCN controls or requests. So that information is presented there to you. That's no change in any plans. Everything stays exactly as the same. So the second sheet that we have. Through the years, we have people asked about the possibility of a buy-up option for Delta Dental to include orthodontic coverage. So this would not be something that I would say the county should fund itself, but the difference in somebody being able to say that they would like to purchase orthodontic coverage plans versus the one that we currently offer and pay 100% of the premium for, is minuscule. It ends up being, it ended up being like 400 and some for a family plan for the year. And if you're going with the highest one, and that would give you $1,500 of lifetime orthodontic benefits. So in essence, you'd be saving $1,100 on orthodontic care. So that'll be something that will be asking the board to allow. Doesn't mean that somebody's going to choose it, but they would have the option of doing the buy-up between what the county pays and that to give them kind of an additional. We do have younger families that will be needing orthodontics.
Right. It's been a highly requested item for several years. So.
Yeah. So the very last page, which has a whole bunch of columns on it, at the top, on the top right, it says BCN non-union plan options. So this sheet is plan options that were derived from the feedback held in the meeting with our elected office holders for our department heads in those conversations, looking to see what BCN plans might be available to address some of the concerns with the current model that we have, the HMO, HD, HP, with our healthcare savings account. I guess I will say at first blush, when the information was rolled out to Noelle and I, what would you say your impression was?
It wouldn't be something that if I were looking for additional coverage, I would believe would be a benefit to my family.
So,
but that's just me.
I know. So one of the things that is absent from this request is a traditional Blue Care or Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO plan. And the reason that's not included is simply because that is anywhere from $700 to $1,000 per month per employee if they chose for the buy-up option. And that would still be a classic 80-20 plan with a deductible to meet of anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000, depending on your plan. So that would not solve any of the issues that have been brought forward. So in this plan, the very first column is our traditional plan that we have right now for non-union employees. It is your healthcare savings model under our HMO with that high deductible, with the county putting in the actual deductible amount into the healthcare savings accounts. The next 4 plans as they come through are different options based on feedback, looking at wanting better referral process, looking at less out-of-pocket costs. That's where we run into the really big problem, I think.
It is. Essentially, the way that BCN, the product itself, of what they offer in all of their plans, the referral process that we were familiar with Priority Health, where you could go see a specialist and you didn't need to have a referral, that is non-existent within BCN plans. BCN offers the exact same referral process for each one of their plans, no matter what the deductible is or what the out-of-pocket expense is. It is just a product-wide referral process. So unfortunately, what we're looking for and what a lot of the employees have really requested is not something that within BCN we can control or change.
The plan that they have that comes the closest to being able to have that decision where you want to go and you want to go see a dermatologist and you want to skip the step of going to your primary care physician first is the very last column that's titled POS 2000 BEP POS. We were really kind of hoping that this one was going to be a win. But what we have learned from the Blue Care representatives and from our third party is the non-referrals. So if I choose to attend a dermatologist, it's not that it wouldn't be covered under this plan, but it would be covered as out of network. And that's expensive. So that is that area where you would be looking at, okay, yes, you can do that, but you're going to pay for the difference of that. In that plan as well, the deductibles exist, just like they do in every other plan. The co-insurance exists like they do in every other plan. However, the minute we step outside the box of the HMO HDHP plan, your individual and family out-of-pockets
More than double.
more than double. So when we're talking about the big picture of how do we make sure that our employees can minimize the difference between what they have to pay in utilizing the insurance and what is paid for, that becomes a pretty big issue. So your individual maximum out of pocket would be $8,150. The family,
4,000.
yeah, versus the 4,000 in the HMO HDHP, and the family maximum is 16,300 versus 8,000. So that's the point where I think both of our hearts sink a little bit.
Right, because it means that furthers the ability to be able to meet that out-of-pocket maximum for a family or for an individual, and that means more out of their pocket over the course. Now, something we haven't quite brought up yet is that these, of course, were thought of as potential buy-up plans. So that doesn't include the buy-up amount for each one of these individuals. So like she was talking about the point of service plan where maybe we could kind of get around going to a primary care physician for the referral before you go see a specialist. That one would be an increase from the current out-of-pocket, which is $98.52 for the 2026 year, for per month to $352 and 25 cents per month. So that would be that on top of then more than doubling the out-of-pocket. It just doesn't seem, I mean, and we could be wrong there, and I know that each individual case is a little bit different, but it doesn't seem to actually solve the problem. Maybe solving one problem in one area actually creates a larger problem in another.
That's actually a really good way to put that.
Thanks.
So what the plans do offer for the HMO Classics and the BEP POS plans is they do offer under medical services that traditional just copay for virtual visits, primary care specialist, urgent cares, emergency room, advanced imaging. What we have right now is that I break my leg and I go to the emergency room, my deductible has to be met first, and then we have the 80/20 coinsurance that kicks in. I would then be paying that difference for the family, because I'm a family plan, the family versus deductible until the insurance kicks in. So it's a manageable amount, but you do know that you have to do that. Under the other options that I've brought forward, and this is where I think you saying that it fixes a problem but does it create a bigger problem, you'd have a $250 copay or deductible, then $250 if you went with the HMO. So you'd have a $250 copay for going to the emergency room. But then if that emergency room visits constitute some sort of surgery to repair a broken leg, you would be on hook for your total out-of-pocket family maximum of $16,300. So it's communicating the, what is the big need? What can people afford to go out? The prescription drugs, same thing. Right now, everything is deductible then. Under the additional plans, it is simply a copay. It is a copay when you go, so 10, 30, 60, 80, and then your higher tier drugs are always going to be, they'll pay X amount to a certain maximum for you for that as well. One of the other areas that we did look into for Blue Care based on some of the feedback is, was there a different formulary that could be utilized, or let's say a rider that could be purchased for buy-up options under prescription? And the answer we received back from Blue Care was no, that is not. The formularies are the formularies. They are managed the way they are managed to manage costs. So that was information I think I have shared with all of you, but I just think it probably bears repeating that Priority Health will not provide a health insurance quote to us until the 2027 plan year comes up for renewal. So Priority Health is off the table. We had talked about what else is there? United Healthcare. So the other options aside from Priority and the Blues are less rich, harder to manage, and not recommended by many people, especially in northern Michigan. So that's why I don't have any type of quotes for those as it stands. So
Something I just want to kind of remind as well is that the way that our current plan, the HMO with the high deductible, high premium, even though Jennifer did say she doesn't like that it's called high premium, because these are actually these deductibles and out-of-pockets are the lowest that the IRS allows. But something that is also governed by the IRS is that everything must go towards deductible first, and so that's why copays are not included in our current plan, like the plans that we are looking at, like as potential buy-up offers, offer copays. That is something that's out of control for Blue Care Network to change.
one of the other points that has been brought to our attention through the last 30 days is the county done with a healthcare reimbursement account? As far as non-union, because obviously we're in negotiations for others. And the general answer is yes, because you would have to cap the cost to do that. Noelle and I kicked around an idea a little bit of, if you went back to the very first page where you've got the two plans we currently have, really looking at the HMO HRA plan that the union currently has. It is essentially what the other plans offer. It's just a plan that can be tied to an HRA. That's the big difference for that. Could you offer that as a buy-up and say, hey, if the board is going to be able to allocate $1,700 and $3,400 to an HSA, if you all pay for the buy-up option, we'd be willing to give $1,700 and $3,400 cap for your HRA. Now, it still leaves you with that out-of-pocket maximum that's large in there, but it does give a little bit more flexibility as far as having just a office visit or prescription drug visit as well. And I thought, based on what you guys say, that might be something to bring back to the office holders for a meeting and discussion before you guys, go too much further.
The
But
buy-up really does look minimal. We are getting information, more information from Jennifer and her team about if these two plans, when they were quoted, if they were quoted about merging all non-union and union employees together, users together, if that changes anything. So we were making sure to get that information.
we did get an
Oh, did we
answer,
get it?
and it does not.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
So it would not increase the premiums.
Okay, very good.
So now we're kind of looking for guidance and direction, what information you'd like to see, how else you'd like things presented.
On the one sheet, you're listing employee contribution. Is that per pay period?
I believe that
Yeah,
they have it
last sheet.
listed per, I believe they have it listed per,
That is per month.
if I'm doing the math correct in my head, I believe that's per month.
It is per month. Just because I know how much I pay.
Right.
For mine.
So essentially what I would do is I take that total that's there per month because we do it per pay. So I take that total, I divide it, I multiply it by 12, and then I divide it by 26 because we have 26 pays in the month, and then that's what that total is for each pay.
So this dollar amount represents every 2 weeks?
This dollar amount represents each month. So if you multiply it by 12, that would give you the totality that you're going to pay over the course of a year.
Commissioner Wilson, could you say that again? I'm sorry, I didn't. What was the question?
Well, they're listing employee contribution dollars. And I wondered if that was per pay period or per month.
I got that answer. Okay.
Yep, per month.
In theory, pay period would be half of that then.
In theory, yes, because we have a couple extra, it's a little bit lower, yeah. Not much, no.
Madam Chair, just
Yes.
a couple questions. So that first page is the current plan as it stands. So the mark through on the non-union, the 1650, 33, so the new number is to the right. If we renew the same plan, that would be the number. Okay, got it. All right.
And Jody, on that first page, I know you just talked about a buy-up option, using that. So basically, instead of the deductible being fully funded, each of those, you would allow a buy-up, but the county would pay either $1,700, $3,400, $3,400.
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Basically having that amount available versus depositing it into an HSA.
Yep. Okay.
Just for my clarity too, it looks like there's an HRA, but we also talk about HSA.
Correct.
Can you kind of talk us through the difference of what do we have now and what we're looking at?
So we actually do have both right now. One, the HSA is what non-union employees have.
Okay,
And that's where this last year we deposited either $1,650 or the $3,300 into a health savings account for them. And that's what they're able to utilize to pay for the deductible because that is the deductible. The HRA is what the union plans have, and it is essentially, there's no money being deposited until we are paying the bill, essentially, for those. So it's called a health reimbursing account. BCN pays for that, and then they turn around and bill us on a weekly basis for those claims. So it's essentially a promise to pay, where the HSA is we deposit day one.
gotcha. And there's really is there a limit to how much they can be reimbursed in the HRA?
Yes, we set that limit. So what we're proposing is the limited would be $1,700 or $3,400. Now, there is the other big difference between an HSA and an HRA is HSA is the health savings account. They get to keep that money, where the HRA is just a promise to pay. If it's not paid, it doesn't go anywhere. It's just you didn't use it.
Got it. I have one, oh,
Yeah.
Insurance obviously is a,
other end. Just tilt it. It's at the, there's your
I
speaker,
got a 50-50 shot here.
There's your speaker, right there.
Health insurance obviously is a hot button issue. About 8 years ago, my niece died at 19. She had cancer. She spent basically 2 years in the hospital before she succumbed to the disease. It would have wiped my family out. Literally, she spent millions of dollars trying to patch her back up, but the cancer was too severe. Which option do you recommend? And do the employees have an option to be able to pick the one that's good for them?
I think that that's what I recommend is having an option for employees to choose what works the best for them. It could be what you guys believe, it could be any number of these plans. We kind of liked the idea of being able to offer the HRA with the cap on it, because that was what we had for a long time. It's what employees really liked and got used to, and it would give them a choice. And then some employees, the HSA seems to be a fine option, but giving them the ability to pick something of two options that works best for their family, I think is where we definitely need to head.
I would really like. Yeah. I would really like to take the information back with Commissioner Wolfson and Commissioner Sensor and meet with the office holders again and just go through the options, see if there's any other
Feedback.
fun ideas and feedback that might bear, consideration by the board too, before I actually tell you this is what I think. Sometimes people have out-of-the-box ideas that
Right.
when you're used to sitting in something, you might not necessarily see. So if we could get that maybe scheduled sooner, soon.
I
Madam Chair, just
realize
a-
we're in negotiations with union. I firmly believe all employees should have the same options.
I think that's the general consensus of the Board of Commissioners. And that is, I think that is, we have not gotten to the economic portions yet of negotiations. We have simply been on contracts. But when we get there, that will be a closed session conversation since we have 4 unions to negotiate with. That the board will have to have on, this is where we're at, where would you like the negotiations team to proceed from now on? So.
Madam Chair, sorry, I have a couple
that's
other
okay.
That's
questions.
okay, we like
It's
questions.
all of it just came in to us today. So a couple questions. One, because I know I have a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan for our employees, but we don't have to go get a referral. But is that because we're a municipality type of plan and not a business plan?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
So it's a couple parts. The first is, this is a large group plan.
Large group, okay.
Yeah, so this is a large group plan, and under large groups to contain costs through the HMO, their new blue plan, that is the model. That is the referral, is how they help contain those costs.
Got it.
The other is, it is a difference in plan types. The POS and the HMO plans have managed care.
Right.
A PPO plan, a preferred provider organization plan, which is probably the product you guys
We
have
have
at
two
work.
different, go ahead.
That one will allow you to be more free, but that is where those premiums in a large plan skyrocket, because essentially there's no way for them to manage the costs.
Manage it. That helped, thank you. So is there a number of people, let's say you have a couple options, if we go that route to give people a choice between just, one or two maybe, is there a certain number of people that must enroll in each in order to offer the two? Like, if only one picked one plan,
Right.
can you still do that? Or do you have to stick with one? Am I asking that clear?
We can definitely get the absolute answer. I believe from everything that we have seen in comparables and such that you can have one person on a plan.
Okay.
As long as someone elects it, we're allowed to have that. If they're quoting it for us, then that's almost the assumption that anyone can enroll in it.
There's not a limit.
Yeah, but
Okay.
we'll double check just to be
Yeah,
sure.
I think Jennifer actually, I think we mentioned that in our call with Jennifer, and that is, this is 24 hours old to us. So we're only a
understand.
day ahead of you guys. So
all right.
any questions that you need answered, they'll go on the list that we're emailing to her too.
It'll, yeah,
as
it
they
may
come
have
up.
as we
So-
look at it a little bit more. You know, I understand the similarities, Commissioner Wilson, as well, between union and non-union. I know that's always tough, but I think that that is, at least from my perspective, is something I'd like to strive for as well. The HSA, there was a lot of conversation about would we fund that again or not. I would be in support of that. If these numbers start to roll out, that's where my preference would be. So, you know, I think it's just to review the entirety of all this, plus the wage and salary work, like all these factors. We can start at the high and see where that puts us, but you know, from my point, I want to play all those factors together before we make. And I know we have deadlines that are different on each one, but to really have a good feel for all those, you know, before we make a final decision. Because I think I'm hearing, let's start whatever recommendations as best we can, see if that works financially, and then we go back from there. Is that kind of what I'm hearing as well?
Yes, that's, I mean, that is what I've, you know, that is
Yep.
the request that was asked by the department heads, and that you guys said, okay, you can go ahead and do that. They have their expense worksheets at this point in time. Well, I should say all of my non-union department head elected officials have their expense worksheets. And in that is the fulfilled wages under the full request of wage and
Request.
salary recommendation, and then the plan type for our current non-union plan with a fully funded 1,700, 3,400 HSA by the county again.
That's kind of the base that
So,
we're working
yeah.
from.
So
Okay.
the gold plan, I guess, we'll say, is what is in there right now to see what works and what doesn't work. And as it comes down, we'll have to sit back down and, okay, what's the most important aspect out of this? So,
Do we have an idea how many employees have exhausted their HSA?
Unfortunately, that's something that we're not always allowed to see. I did ask to see if Advantage Benefits was able to see, like as a broker on our behalf, to see if that was something of information that we could get. Once they're, the HSAs, because they are individually owned, once we put the money in, we really have no other not say, but control, any kind of advisory, anything like that over it, and that's governed because that's the IRS, it's a tax.
Well, we've had no feedback from the employees on that.
The only way to really know is if someone tells us.
That's what I mean.
I guess
So
I
we
would
could
say,
ask,
it's
but-
not that we haven't had feedback. We certainly have had a good 10 people come in, I'd say,
Yeah.
and say, hey, it's March and I've already blown through all my
through it.
HSA and hit my
Out-of-pocket.
out-of-pocket maximum.
So an HSA versus an HRA is an issue then?
It could be an issue. Back and forth. Yep. Yeah. I mean, and that, the only reason I say that is we took that big change from funding everything, which there was no way to afford. We took that big jump to the healthcare savings account plan. And the feedback that was given in the meetings that we had with the elected officials was, we have employees that are still making less than the average rate of pay, now having to pay $4,000 more into their health care than they had before hitting that, okay, you don't have to pay any more maximum. So it's putting them in the hole. And that's kind of, okay, I'm looking at Michelle because she was in those meetings, obviously. That has been the conversation. So that's why with Noelle and I, as we're looking through the other options that were presented, we're like, well, that gap actually is bigger. So how does that fix that problem? And giving that open pocketbook with an HRA that is one of the large areas that drove our usage rates so high in the first place. That made it where it would have been a 51% increase to continue with Priority Health in the plan we had. So at some point in time, we had to do something different, but now we're looking at how do we tweak the something different or keep the something different so that our employees, it doesn't get worse.
Maybe with the meeting with the elected officials, or really, or the official, our department heads, who are thinking more benefits right now. Then there's the wage and salary.
Yes.
But I'm sure they could get a handle from their own departments on how many people have been already. I mean, I don't think it would be hard to get if they were willing to say, hey, I just kind of pulled my people, and half of them, or 5 or 2, might be something they could get some information on. Help us,
It was a question that I had as well, that's why I looked. And couldn't find it, so that's why I asked.
I do hear that is, at least from what I've heard, that HSA contribution, obviously, you mentioned the 2 referrals. That's been a challenge. So I think those are the 2 loudest things I have heard, that I think if we can try to address those as much as we can, that's just my take first, as we look at the whole package. But those things, I really want to make sure that we've done everything we can to try to address those 2 things the best possible. You gave some great information about how some of those don't work for the referrals. It's just kind of the way they do it, which we can't change them. And then to balance that with the wage and salary needs. I mean, I think this combination is going to be critical for at least this year, till we can really get a better handle and communicate with our community about how this budget works, because a lot of people don't understand the unfunded mandates and the things that impact us, that we just don't have that money all the time. So this was a good report from Advantage, so thank you.
And as you guys move through everything and you're looking through it, please reach out to either Noelle or I, or both of us, and let us know what feedback, what questions, what other questions you'd like to see answered, because I'm sure we'll have that information on doing that. And then Commissioner Wolfson, did you want to schedule that follow-up meeting with the office holders? Please. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Consumers Energy update. Rick Castle, Consumers Energy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see everyone again. I wanted to be here today just to give you an update on where things stand with regards to our reliability roadmap. The core project is our Houghton Lake Reliability Project, and I just wanted to update you that, things are moving forward with that project. We are looking to start construction, and more specifically, the forestry-related work likely this fall. I don't have specific timeline yet, but that's at least the plan. But more specifically, getting into next year, I think most of the construction will be occurring during that time frame. But I did want to let you know that tomorrow night we are having a community engagement event at the Skinner Park, where the Roscommon Township Hall is located at. That event starts at 5 o'clock, goes to 7:30. That is an opportunity for anyone in the public, whether you're part of the project or, you're as far up here as Roscommon. If you're interested in meeting with Consumers Energy and learning more about that project and any of our other reliability projects, that's a good opportunity to do so. That event, we're providing, free dinner, we have bounce houses for the kids, bucket rides. So there's a lot of different things going on as associated with that event. So just wanted to let you all know about that and invite you to attend if you'd like to. So speaking of reliability roadmap and some of the other projects, I think if you've driven down M55, especially in the Putinville area, you've seen some of the updates that we're doing with the Bacchus substation. That's basically a full rebuild of that substation. We rebuilt the circuit from the substation going back towards Putinville, and then at some point we're going to be rebuilding the line running along Roscommon Road from M55 down into the Lake James area. So there's a lot of work still going on and elsewhere beyond the Houghton Lake project, but those 2 are the major projects that are going on here in the county, and those are pretty substantial, basically impacting the whole southern half of the Houghton Lake area. So that's a big commitment to this county and this community. Another project that's going on that's not necessarily in the county but will have some impact to Roscommon is that we're building a new substation up on 4 Mile Road just south of Grayling. That substation is to help feed some of the new businesses that are going on in that area, but what that's going to do is help take off some of the load off of the Garish sub that helps feed the North Higgins Lake area. So that's ongoing as well. And then looking into this year, the plan was to basically do tree trimming on 170 miles of power lines, both here in Roscommon and Crawford. So there's been a lot of work going on here in the county this year, and just wanted to let you guys know where things stood with the reliability roadmap. Just letting you know there's a lot going on. As those things continue to progress, I'll keep you in the loop. One thing that is happening, and not necessarily here but elsewhere, but it could eventually happen, is we're doing a lot of make-ready work. And what make-ready work is as these third-party attachers, and I say attachers, cable company, might be, you know, a broadband provider or whatever, as they're looking to serve specific areas in our area, they go around and they evaluate the condition of the poles to make sure that they are capable for us to attach. And so I will say that the poles are adequate for us and for us to be able to serve our customers. I mean, that's the number one priority. But as a third-party attacher wants to utilize our poles, the poles may not necessarily be in an adequate height, or they need to be adjusted to be able to support what they need to do. And so in working with those third-party attachers, we may have to come out and replace individual poles. And so you might see that work happening here in the county as well. And frankly, you know, that's for them, but that's an upgrade to the system. I mean, that's basically replacing all the equipment and whatnot. So those are things that I'm seeing in our region, and there are other communities where that's happening quite regularly. And, you know, one community I'd heard that there were almost 80 poles that were replaced. So if you think about it, that's a pretty substantial upgrade. So giving you guys a heads up about all of that, but I'm open to any questions, but that's really what I wanted to update you on today. It's been a little while since I've been here and just really haven't had a lot to be able to provide, but you know, today I had a little bit more, and with the event tomorrow, I wanted to be able to speak about that and invite you guys to attend, and feel free to promote it if you would, you know, within your district. So open to any questions.
Any questions?
I'm sure. You're talking rerunning lines down Roscommon Road?
Yes.
Is that going to have a negative impact on the property owners along that?
So this is in our standard distribution system. So, you know, obviously they're going to go through and probably clear out the right of way for us to be able to do that. And then everything that's already existing, that those lines will get pulled out and then replaced. So it's basically a 1-for-1 replacement. So it's just updating everything that's there already. So that's the plan for that segment of the road.
Thank you.
Yep.
Madam Chair. Rick, I know this may not be the best of questions for you, sorry. In this reliability roadmap, I know that there, even before I came on board, a lot of conversations about the high voltage wires that were going down that. Is this included in this, or is that a whole
Yep,
separate?
so that's the Houghton Lake Reliability Project.
Okay.
That is the major component here in the county, and so that's the project that we're going to be starting this fall. So yeah, that's all moving forward, and that's what we're planning to do starting here this fall, going into next year. And that project will be, I would say, completed probably mid-2027, maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later. It just kind of depends how the progress of that project moves forward.
Okay.
But that's a 12-mile high-voltage distribution line, and that's a brand-new substation over on Knapp Road in Old 27. So
Right.
that
Okay.
is being done to retire the existing transmission line that basically starts on the north side of Houghton Lake and wraps around on the west side. And this will significantly better serve the South Houghton Lake area. I mean, just make the system more reliable, resolve some of the voltage issues that we've had. So this is something that's very much needed here to make the system more reliable.
Since I wasn't a part of some of those conversations, can you just help me understand the weight in which consumers and the things that you guys have to do from a state perspective and what you get? I understand that part. But what weight did the people's voice to that play into just, we're going to move forward?
Yeah.
I know we face that very same similar thing. I know sometimes you have to make decisions, but the voice of those people is pretty tough too. So can you, I haven't been a part of that.
We took all of that into consideration, and as I've said before, you know, locating these lines was very, very difficult. And part of the reason is because you're limited because of the South Shore being as developed as it is. The other part of it is then you start getting into the swampy lands to the south, and so that really limited our ability to be able to site these in areas where we don't have some kind of impact. And you know, we had an original proposed location. That didn't work because there was some issues with the surveying of the road locations and whatnot. So then when we looked at the alternatives, I mean, we were looking for the opportunities to have the least amount of impact on the community and the landowners. Unfortunately, there still has to be some kind of an impact, and we were able to work with those folks and trying to figure out a resolution with that.
Okay.
I mean, there is some ongoing litigation associated with
okay.
it, but
I didn't
we're
know that.
working through that process to be able to make this all move forward. But this is what has to happen in order for us to better serve this community. And so that is our commitment, is to be able to make sure that we have a safe, reliable electric system. We're doing exactly what the customers want us to do, and that is ensure that, you know, they can turn the lights on, and that the lights are going to be on as regular as possible. And so that's what we're working through. And I understand the challenges. It's been a challenge for us, but we did the best we could to be able to locate this where it had the least amount of impact, not only on the customers, but from the environment aspect. I mean, we're taking a power line that's in a swampy area now that's really hard to be able to access. That hinders our ability to restore power effectively. So to be able to put it right back in the same situation doesn't do any good for any of us. And, you know, from our end of it, it makes the system, again, not reliable, and that's totally against what we're trying to do here. So.
That's help. Thank you, because
welcome.
I wasn't trying to put you on the spot.
No,
I just had
you're
not heard
fine.
an update.
We've
and I
talked about it a number of times, so.
that helps me understand where it was at. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I appreciate your comments, Rich. You know, I was hoping that you'd find an alternate route. I want to speak
Understood.
on behalf of my constituents. Thank you. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank
Reach out
you.
anytime if you need anything.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next, we have the Roscommon County Transit Authority Board Member Appointment. Steve Bose, the Director. I don't know how to say his name. Boyce? Okay.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Come to you today. Our board voted unanimously at our last board meeting to recommend to you Elma Lou Crossley as our economic development member to appoint to our board to replace Richard Copel, who retired a couple months ago. I'm here today to do. I believe most of you already know her, it seems like.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Oh, thank you, Barb. No, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
look forward to working on the board, so. All right, thank you.
Okay. With nothing further on the work session, this meeting will be adjourned, and the next meeting will start at 10 o'clock for September 24th at 10 a.m. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Here. Morley. Here. Spencer.
Here.
Wolfson.
Here.
Russo.
Approval of the agenda.
So, Madam Chair.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Wolfson.
Yes.
Morley.
Yes.
Spencer.
Yes.
Russo.
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Carried.
Approval of the consent agenda. Items within our meeting minutes from September 2nd, 2025, special Higgins Lake meeting, the board meeting and lake level control structure meeting for September 10th, 2025. Correspondences A through L, Berrien County resolution, RTA meeting agenda, MAC legislative updates, correspondences to the board, our monthly department report from the animal control shelter stats for August, and the EDC report. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Milburn,
Yes.
Morley,
Yes.
Russo,
Yes.
Censor,
Yes.
Wolfson. Motion carried.
Public comment for agenda items only. Is there any public comment for agenda items? Visitors. Rob, come on up.
Well, I'm Rob Pellerito with Senator Michelle Hoytinga's office. Just wanted to give commissioners just a little update, what's going on in Lansing. As you know, you may know, we're working on the budget, and then the budget's been in progress since late spring. Both houses, the Senate and the House, have passed a budget. They are drastically different than each other. The House did their budget as zeroing all budgets out to zero and then building up, and the Senate did theirs based on last year's budget and adjusting that budget. So, the Senate did theirs based on a revenue projection, which came in after the passage, and it was way off. So we already know that there was drastic changes that need to be made, and as of right now, both sides are meeting. I am told to plan on a short shutdown. We are told probably up to 7 to 10 days. What does that mean? Essential services will still be funded. State police will still be on the road, that type of thing, emergency services. However, possibility Secretary of State's office will be closed. DNR, we're coming into hunting season. Make sure you have your tags for hunting season, for bow season, because the DNR plans on shutting the system down. So there are several things that people don't think about. It's funded by the state, and without funding, they will go down. I know there are some departments in the DNR that have furloughed as of September 15th, so it's already in the works. So they are working hard, and they've added session days, full weeks, and they are there trying to get over this impasse. With that, do you have any questions that I may try to answer on the budget?
Anybody have any? Yes.
Let's say it's a 7 to 10 day. About when might that start?
It would start October 1st.
October 1st.
Yes.
Just for people's heads up in case they're going to the Secretary of State to do something, right?
Exactly.
You can do it online still, like if you're renewing things on their online portal, that'll be
Right.
fine, but if you're going to the office.
My I imagine it just like when it was COVID, the same type of services when they had nobody in the office. So
Thank you.
that includes myself. Unless I'm declared essential, I doubt that. So I'll also be out of work until a budget's passed.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else on budget?
Yes.
Just as a person who resides in Michigan, it's unfortunate both sides can't work collaboratively to end this kind of impasse. It's disturbing to me as a person, but I understand that it is how it is down in Lansing. Thank you.
Well, now, the DNR has free fishing weekend. Would that be like free hunting weekend?
It would be nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice.
It's sad because a lot of parks have their trunk or treat, and they'll be shut down.
Yeah, state parks. Yes, absolutely. They'll be shut down.
Thanks, Rob.
You're welcome.
Is that a given, or that's?
It is not a given. The governor's saying that they're going to get through it and they're going to get something passed. Just from the inside, that's what we're seeing is there is not a lot of forward progress or agreements on their differences between the Republican House and the Democrat majority Senate. So again, that they have to get something agreed upon and then send it to the governor, and she's got to agree on it. She has certain things, increase in road funding being one of the biggest ones that she'd like to fix the roads, so. But I do know that the House budget has a huge increase in funding, $3 billion in additional funding going towards road repairs, so. And it is, a big portion of it will come to rural areas rather than go directly to major cities. So that is something we can look forward to if the House budget passes, is more funding coming north for roads up in rural areas. So. Welcome. And one little piece of good news I have, the Senators has a legislative rail trip traveling from Standish to Grayling, and I would like to invite one of your board members. I only have one position. I'd love to have you all on board, but I have a position for one board member to join this rail trip. It'll be, like I said, from Standish to Grayling, tour Ruco, tour the Anderson's elevator in Standish, and it will be an all-day trip on October 13th. So I can stay after, or you can discuss who's available. I would love to be able to have a Roscommon County Commissioner on board to join us.
Rob, when do you need that answer so you can secure a spot?
I need to know the next day or two.
Day or two?
Yeah.
Maybe we can have some comments at board comments, maybe. Cool, thank you.
With the budget, that is tentative because they are planning more days in Lansing, and if the budget's not passed, that may be delayed, that trip. So October 13th is what we're shooting for. Thank you.
Unfinished business, updates, Eagle permit requirements meeting. Just a brief update regarding Higgins Lake in the meeting with the Eagle. We will be filing a minor permit if it hasn't already been done. I wasn't able to get a hold of Chase to find out if that had been submitted yet. To change the aluminum pieces on top of the flop gates. He wants to increase them by 6 to 8 inches. The hope is that it will help the wave action from going over on the windy days. Eagle stated that they have no immediate concerns regarding the minor permit. We spoke to them about the simplified water budget that Chase had mentioned in our lake level meeting. Some of the questions that arose was they would want to know if it would impact any wetland areas around Higgins Lake. The main focus in regards to wetland would be up towards the North State Park. Next, Commissioner Wolfson asked about a restrictor plate for seasonal flows. They had stated that we had already submitted a hydraulic information, so we would need the engineers to look at the new flow rates that just came out. They're recommending that they get those ASAP. I have emailed Prine and Newhoff to see if they've done so yet, and if not, I've asked them to do that. We would also have to look at the low flow discharge rate and pull past information. If we wanted to change the 50 cubic feet per second, we would need to use the hydraulic studies and look at all the new information and past information and show how it would impact the DNR habitat. We asked how the DNR came up with the amount required and if any studies were done. Eagle could not specifically speak to that. They believe that they probably used the MSU study. And Commissioner Wolfson, if you have some additional stuff, I will let you add that in.
Yeah, in addressing the restrictor plate on that, we're going to have to work with the DNR fisheries most likely. You know, that river's low today. That river goes up and down. And I can remember in the early 80s when we had a severe drought, it pretty much stopped flowing. That's a natural thing to happen with rivers. And we need to work with the DNR to acknowledge that, and that in a drought year, maybe we don't send as much water down because it's a drought year. So I think we need to work with the DNR fisheries on that one also.
Any questions or any comments on that?
I agree with what
Okay. 2026 Person of the Year nominations. I know Commissioner Wolfson had his nomination, and I know Commissioner Milburn has a nomination. I would like all nominations to come in no later than our October 8th meeting so that we can make our decision by the last meeting in October, and then that way the award can be presented in a timely fashion the beginning of December. If that's possible. If anybody else has anybody coming forward. Yes.
Could I, just for the record, Maria and Bruce Bentley are here. Could we acknowledge them? Could you stand up, please?
Yes.
Those are my nominations for the year. And of course, Vicki Springstead and her husband Pat. Vicki was won the Person of the Year several years ago. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Update on hiring Director of Facilities and Grounds. Commissioner Wolfson.
Yes, David and I and Jody had 4 interviews for this position. One was selected, and Jody is in the process of making that happen. So I'll let her take over on that at this point.
So we interviewed 2 internal candidates, 2 external candidates. We have made an offer to an external candidate, which has been accepted. I will be meeting with him this afternoon. We did extend an offer to Justin Mann, who was a local business owner for years and years, and is currently employed elsewhere. But this will, of course, be contingent upon start date, salary negotiations, and those things. I do think that we will be able to come to an understanding and have that work, but as soon as things are finalized out, I will email the board and let you know all the details. So,
And the candidates were very good, you know.
Yes,
It's hard to make a
it was a
decision.
hard decision to make.
Very hard.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
question for Jody. So in the interim, I know somebody's filling the gap. Are we doing okay being able to fill that and spread the workload while we're waiting?
yeah. All things considered, this is since it's that in-between time of year, everything's closing down as far as summer, landfill, summer projects, and we haven't quite geared up to winter yet. It is going really well. I have one of our part-time seasonal who has agreed to stay on a little bit longer to assist with just day-to-day operations and coverage. IT is helping me with all of our automated systems. So Bill was able to train Andy for that, so that's being monitored. We do have our lead maintenance, who is just handling everything as he comes, and if he doesn't know, he comes into my office and he talks to me. So this will be the 3rd time in 10 years that I've done this for this particular department, so I'm getting pretty good at it. Yep. So we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. New business, we don't have anything there, so we're at motions and resolutions whenever our clerk is ready.
Petrie to the Roscommon County Transit Authority Board for a 2-year term beginning October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2027.
Second, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Russo?
Yes.
Morley?
Yes.
Milburn?
Yes.
Wolfson? Yes. Censor?
Yes.
Motion carried. Number 2, move to reappoint Sherry Johnson to the Roscommon County Transit Authority Board for a 2-year term beginning October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2027.
So move.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Morley,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Censor,
Yes.
Wolfson. Russo.
Yes.
Motion carried. Number 3, move to reappoint Albert Schultz to the Roscommon County Transit Authority Board for a 2-year term beginning October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2027.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Censor,
Yes.
Morley,
Yes.
Russo,
Yes.
Wolfson.
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Motion carried. Number 4, move to appoint Emily Barber to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Board for a 3-year term beginning November 1st, 2025 through October 31st, 2028.
So move.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call?
Wolfson. Morley,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Wolfson, or excuse me, Russo,
Yes.
Censor.
Yes.
Sorry, Rex. Only one. Number 5, move to appoint Emily Barber to the Roscommon County Economic Development Board for a 3-year term beginning October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2028.
So move.
Second.
Roll, or discussion?
Fighting for seconds.
Roll call, please.
Milburn,
Yes.
Morley,
Yes.
Censor,
Yes.
Russo.
Yes.
Motion carried. Number 6, move to delete the Central Michigan District Health Department complaint handling policy from the Roscommon County Board policies. Said policy is not applicable to the operation of Roscommon County.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Milburn,
Yes.
Morley,
Yes.
Censor,
Yes.
Russo,
Yes.
Wolfson. Motion carried. Number 7, move to adopt resolution number 20250905, resolution in support of establishing commercial rehabilitation district for statewide Sports Dome Resort Incorporated. Resolution in support of establishing commercial rehabilitation district for statewide Sports Dome Resort Incorporated. Whereas pursuant to Public Act 210 of 2005 as amended, the County of Roscommon has the authority to reject the establishment of commercial rehabilitation districts within its jurisdiction. And whereas the County of Roscommon has received a copy of Roscommon Township Resolution number 2025-9-9, which establishes a commercial rehabilitation district for the benefit of statewide Sports Dome Resort Incorporated, located at 9285 Westlake City Road, Houghton Lake, Michigan 48629. And whereas the Roscommon County Board of Commissioners has reviewed the proposal and finds that it complies with the requirements set forth in sections 2B and 3 of the Act. Now therefore be it resolved that the Roscommon County Board of Commissioners hereby supports and approves the establishment of the Roscommon Township Commercial Rehabilitation District Number 1 as described in the aforementioned resolution.
So move.
Madam Chair.
I'll second.
Yes.
Any discussion?
This is a big deal, Madam Chair. We have the owner of the Sports Dome and Supervisor Randall here today in the audience. So let the record reflect that. Thank you.
Any further discussion? I think that this is a good thing. I'm actually anxious to see something done with that building.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Agreed.
Roll call, please.
Wolfson.
Yes.
Morley,
Yes.
Censor,
Yes.
Russo,
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Move to adopt resolution number.
Move to adopt resolution number 2025-0906. Resolution honoring Michelle M. Stevenson as the 2025 Michigan Register of Deeds of the Year. Whereas the Michigan Association of Register of Deeds, MARD, annually recognizes one outstanding individual for exemplary service, leadership, and dedication in the role of Register of Deeds. And whereas Michelle M. Stevenson, Roscommon County Clerk Register of Deeds, was selected as the 2025 Register of Deeds of the Year. And whereas Clerk Register of Deeds Stevenson has demonstrated unwavering commitment to public service for almost 2 decades, beginning her career in local government at Roscommon Township and in county government in 2012, committing herself and her office to improve technological and organizational standards to better serve the residents of Roscommon County. And whereas her contributions and continued dedication to learning and advancement have significantly enhanced the transparency, efficiency, and accessibility of property records in Roscommon County, resulting in quicker document turnaround, reduced errors, and overall improvement of services. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Roscommon County Board of Commissioners formally recognizes and congratulates Michelle M. Stevenson for her outstanding achievements and recognizes her great achievement as a 2025 Michigan Register of Deeds of the Year, expressing sincere appreciation for her dedication to excellence in public service.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope. Ready to move on. Let's do it.
Okay, roll call?
Censor,
Yes.
Russo,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Morley,
Yes.
Wolfson.
Resolution.
Yes. We can take a recess for a photo.
Happy times in
Yes.
the quarters today.
Yes. Okay, we're. Back in session. Committee reports. Commissioner Morley.
Why you put me first?
Just kidding. On Thursday, the 11th, helped attend the 911 ceremony that we did, 9/11 ceremony, which was very, very nice. Got some good publicity there as well. Mari, thank you. On the 12th, Northern Lakes Community Mental Health had a public hearing that I attended. Most of the conversation, there was a lot of reporting, obviously, about that organization. They got their 3-year accreditation approved and to move forward, which is a positive for them as well. Quite a bit of discussion around the new Grand Traverse Mental Health Crisis Center that's a partnership between Northern Lakes as well as Munson. So discussion amongst people who participated, amongst the people who work there, that they're still trying to work out some bugs, whether it's the communication between the two organizations and how that they get people into the service, out of the service, removed, back and forth. So they're still working through some of that, and I think they did a really good job explaining that they're still working on it and what they're trying to do to make that better. That was quite a bit of the conversation in that public hearing. Tuesday the 16th, the Emergency Management Group, the local planning team met. There were 2 meetings on that day. The proposed budget for 2026, I give our Emergency Management Director, Vanessa, credit. She's already started to work on that, presented it to that team. There's some, Region 7 will have some funding cuts a little bit, I think, this year, if we understand it correctly. A little bit of additional hours for the assistant director was added. There's not a lot, but enough because it's been a huge help for Vanessa going forward and helping us with some of this grant writing and the work that's being done. So what I love the most about it is all those balanced budget, and it stayed within that millage. You know, if something has to come or go, it's really from a grant perspective versus, hey, we need more money in the budget. So kudos to that group who did that. Discussion around a barricade project. As you guys know, we have a lot of events that go on in this county, and sometimes multiple events, whether it's a festival, whether it's Hip Uptown, Christmas in the Village. There's a lot of things that happen at once, and having some of those really strong barricades for safety has been a conversation for a bit. Region 7 is giving, I shouldn't say giving, part of their grant funding to the group is we'll get 7, maybe 8 or 10 of those. They're really heavy, and you feel them. They're water related, so they have to move them. And looking at a grant that might give us up to 1,000. Might seem a little overkill, but we want to shoot for the most we can get within that grant, just in case we have multiple events and we're not having to move stuff in the same day. We can have them already put up. So a lot of work has been done on that. So kudos to that group. I just found out too that the community, they applied for a community wildfire defense grant, and a very high score of 88. And that's up against 22 other states trying to get federal money. We didn't win it, but that's a pretty high score for us in a rural area, and I'm sure they'll continue to work for that. So Wednesday the 17th, we had our special meeting here. On the 18th, Northern Lakes Community Mental Health had an all-day meetings there, and the very first meeting was all about the new CEO search. 2 very strong candidates to replace the current CEO. Differences of what they would bring to the table. So I think those offers are going to be going out, and they may have a CEO in place before the end of the year for that group, so that was good. The second part of that meeting was really about some of the NMRE updates, because there, as I've shared before, there has been money that NMRE owes back to the Northern Lakes group, but it's been based upon approved audits and things like that that have gone through a lot of scrutiny. So the current update is they've agreed to replace the money for 2020 through 2022. 2018 and 2019, they're still holding on to. That's about $3 million. So their action going forward on that is to say, we're going to have an independent audit on those again and take it back to NMRE. They're willing to take that to their board, so that might even be resolved hopefully before this end of the year as well. And that will make them much less in debt. There's a lot of legislation going on around privatizing the PIP programs within mental health, and that is something that they're vehemently against. So there's some resolutions that might even been shared with us that we could get as well to understand, as a county, should we be helping support that that is not a good option for mental health. If you want, I've got a couple people who can come present on that and kind of share it, and so let me know. They do have a balanced budget this year for the first time in a long time. They did put some contingency line item for the first time because they are in negotiations with all their provider networks and all the groups that they contract with. So not knowing where those rates are going to be and what they're going to have to pay, they have contingency if those go up. If there's nothing that is needed, which they don't think, there will be some of that used. That contingency can be moved to help with staffing numbers or anything like that, or raises and things that they need to do. But that's on hold for right now. On the 22nd, I assisted with the interviews for the Garris Township lieutenant position. That was 3 good candidates, so we'll have a new lieutenant hopefully here in the next month or so for that position. Tonight we have Central Michigan District Health Department's information. Next week I will be gone for 3 days for the MAC conference. And that's my committee report. Thanks.
Commissioner Milburn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I spent last Thursday in Traverse City for the NMCAA. The big takeaway is October 21st, which is a Tuesday at 3:45. Kelly Bachman, who's the director, and Shannon Phelps, who's Head Start person, will have a gathering at the Head Start Center in Holden Lake over by Powell's. I'd like to thank everybody for their participation for the 911 ceremony last week. It was well represented. Commissioner Russo, thank you so much, and appreciate everybody, especially the maintenance crew, for helping us out. Last week, I think it was Thursday also, I attended the Jailhouse Ministries over at Bambi Lake. I think I've been doing that for about 25 years, and Commissioner Morley was there in attendance too, along with, I'm sure, many others in the audience. Thank you.
Commissioner Russo.
I attended a special meeting last week. Personnel, we met a few different times. I'd like to thank Mark for that dedication he organized. It was very nice. The Sheriff's Department for what they did blocking off the road. And that's it, I guess.
I had an animal shelter meeting on Thursday, September 18th, along with our agenda meeting with the animal shelter, the HVAC update they gave, and the certified test and balance report on the system was given to us. There was a glitch in the computer system. Bonham was contacted, and they immediately came out and solved the problem and corrected it. We are still waiting for the final part of the updating of computer systems, and I believe Dee Dee's working with Andy on that. The total cost to replace the system to date is $380,729.29. They participated in a family night out in St. Helen on August 5th, Trestle Park Adoption Event on September 13th, and the Fireman's Memorial Adoption Event on September 19th. They applied for the 2026 MDARD grant for a total of $10,520. This will go towards spay and neuter surgeries, and $8,694.15 for vaccines and flea treatments. They are hosting a free vaccine clinic on November 1st. It will be a drive-through clinic at the County Road Commission building from 9 to 1, and they have a total of 300 free vaccines to give out. They had a fencing project that was completed, which now allows for 3 play areas for the animals, and that was paid through with a grant from 270. And Commissioner Wolfson.
I attended the Roscommon Township Association meeting. Rebecca from the Child Assessment Center was there doing a presentation for them, and they discussed a few items small things they want to change in their bylaws. One of the things was the village here being part of the organization and whether or not they're going to have voting rights. Also attended the interviews for the maintenance director.
Okay. Do we have any public comment?
D.
Okay.
Okay. So, good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to remind everyone that tears are not a sign of weakness. Before I start. Okay. So, good morning. My name is Carrie Amuse-Mead, and I'm a Deputy Register of Deeds for Roscommon County. I am here this morning to speak about the resolution to honor Roscommon County Register of Deeds Michelle Stevenson. A competent Register of Deeds is a key component to effective county operations. As the keeper of the land records, the Register holds one of the most important duties and responsibilities to the residents of the county: recording, indexing, and preserving the current and historical record of property ownership and interests. People in this county work their whole lives to recognize the dream of land ownership, and it is the utmost importance that the documentation of the process is held to the highest of standards. It isn't just about scanning documents. It's a laundry list of Michigan-compiled law, a keen eye for intricate detail, the highest level of proofreading, and curating a staff that is competent enough to meet the elite standards required to carry out the position's duties. Then, throw in the added caveat that Roscommon County is a combined elected office with the county clerk. I think it is important to recognize the significance of the position to the public. Michelle has held the combined position just shy of 13 years, being re-elected deservingly each election cycle. As a member of her current staff, together with my coworkers, Heather, we see day in and day out her dedication to the position. She has been actively involved in the Michigan Register of Deeds Association since her first term and has been key in streamlining education and information available to the Michigan County Registers of Deeds. It is no surprise to our office that Michelle has been awarded Register of the Year for 2025 by her peers. I was able to attend the dinner where Michelle was honored at the Michigan Register of Deeds Conference. And after the announcement was made, it was wonderful to see the other registers offer their congratulations. It was clear that Michelle has made an impact to the office and holds a wealth of knowledge for others that others value. Aside from her responsibility to the county residents, she also takes her responsibility to her staff seriously. She assures we are educated, up to date on legislative changes and happenings, and that we can competently serve the residents of Roscommon County. She also assures, geez, oh, Pete's, Carrie, get it together. Okay. She also assures that we never miss a dance class, basketball game, soccer tournament, or cross-country meet. And as an office full of moms with young, active kids, that means more to us than anything. Whew. She allows us to make our jobs as mothers and wives blend seamlessly with our job as public servants. When you allow a group of women to fully embrace all of their roles, in and out of the office, you curate an office that has 100% buy-in to its success, and it performs at its highest functionality. That is a gift to the community that is often well overlooked, and we wanted the commissioners and the community to know. Thank you for your time.
That she is the best boss ever.
Any other public comment?
I would like to thank everyone here for unanimously passing our resolution to have the rehabilitation district at the statewide Sports Dome Resort. Thank you very much.
And I also greatly appreciate your support. I also just want to say how proud I am of our county and all that you've done, and Michelle, who actually started in our office, which was great, and the fact that she was chosen Register of the person, or 2025 Register Deeds of the Year. Is that right? How many of them are also clerk? I mean, so she's wearing, yeah, out of 83. So she's wearing double hats and still was able to achieve that. And I think that that's just great. I want to thank Commissioner Morley for her work on the mental health board, because that's extremely important. And if I can help in any way, I know there's a very large concern in our community about that now. So that's very great. And let's see, I seen Richard Castle is here, so maybe he already mentioned that Thursday they're putting on an event 5 to 7 at Skinner Park. That's all I have. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other public comment? Okay.
Thank you. Michelle Stevenson, Clerk Arodi. Thank you for your support. Carrie, shame on her. I am one of those people that I don't seek recognition. I just do it. I just do stuff. So to be recognized was a huge honor, is a huge honor. I'm actually the first Clerk Register of Deeds to ever receive this award. So, and they've been presenting it since 1991. I was in disbelief of that, and so I had to call and verify yesterday. I was like, that's not real. But apparently it is, yes. I have a big giant plaque with the names on it. That's a traveling plaque. I have to give it to the next person next year. I have to get it engraved. I get to keep this one, though, and I was honored with a resolution at the banquet, with a resolution signed by Governor Whitmer, Senator Hotenga, Representative Borton, and the Deputy Governor. So that's probably hanging in my office as well. We work hard. We go unrecognized often, except for when I'm speaking up and, you know, being a thorn in people's side. So, but I'm very proud of my staff, and without them, none of the things that I do are possible. And so, that's all.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay. Board comment. Commissioner Wolfson. Okay. Commissioner Morley.
Just a few. Is that uncommon for me, right? I think, you know, one of the things as we look at legislation too, and I know Senator Hoyninga's office is quite aware too, just some of the state budget cuts for county revenue sharing and how that impacts us. I know there's some resolutions going around to say, don't do that. I would love input from Rob to say, is it better that we go down and visit and sit in their office, or does a resolution make more of an impact? How can we show that support that is a challenge for us? And I know budgets in a whole are tough. It's not an easy fight, but let us know what might be a best way to get that for sure. Quick question somebody had asked me. I just want to make sure, if somebody sends something to the commissioners at roscommoncounty.net, does that go to all of us immediately, or does that go through Joe?
So that actually goes to Joe,
Okay,
and then Joe
she
forwards it out to
forwards
all of you.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool, thank you. I noticed in the August reports, you know, that we got for the animal control volumes steady, so it probably has a little bit to do with just the differences as people start to leave the area a little bit more, so gives them a little reprieve because they have a huge project ahead of them. There has been, even in our packet this week, there was a lot of correspondence. Some of those were duplicate regarding, you know, objections to the SAD. Those were things we'd already received, but it came through those. But there was quite a bit that just were very concerned about the level, period. Nothing to do about SAD, just the level is low. Please work to do something. So I thought there was just difference. It caught my attention that there were some that just stated that. I want to thank Charlene. She gave me a wonderful packet from the HOPOA with some additional information. I haven't finished reading all of it, but kind of going through that. A lot about the health of that lake as well that they've been doing. I applaud the House for starting with a zero-based budget. I think basing things off the past sometimes just doesn't get you through where you really work. So please pass on my congratulations to them as well. When we think about both sides of the aisle trying to work together and compromising, that is true. It is a very difficult thing to do down there in the House or the Senate. But the piece that I really feel good about right now is that at least when one only wants to raise taxes and the other says that's not a compromise, that holds things. But I think that they're really trying to say that is not something that we need to do. Especially we've had a surplus of budget for several years now. We've got a lot more money than we did in the past. So I appreciate that. I'd like to recommend our chair, Censor, to attend on October 13th if that's available to go on that train trip as well, if she's available. And thank you, Chair Censor, and Vice Chair Wolfson, for the work that you've been working on with Eagle. Because that relationship and understanding what's needed before we spin our wheels is so critical moving forward. So I know it's extra time, so thank you on that. Last but not least, thank you, Michelle. Well, first off, you are one great proofreader. We needed to highlight that in that message that she sent, because you could do a great job on that. And just the help you've given me as a new commissioner and help giving me time to understand the things better. You truly deserve that award, so thank you. That's it.
Thanks, Michelle. I'll second Kim's recommendation for our chair to go. I think it would be good for you to represent the board. It's hard, another note, it's hard to believe that on 4th of July next year in noon, which is a Saturday, at noon, we'll have a presentation recognizing our 250th anniversary. I've asked Peter Ingesolin, retired Brigadier General, to be our guest speaker, along with Senator Michelle Hoyenga to be another guest speaker. And I appreciate, as always, the sheriff's support and Dave's outstanding support with the fire department. It's only 9 months away, but it should be quite the celebration. 250th anniversary of our country. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Russo. I just want everybody to be aware that next week I will also be attending the MAC conference. This was offered up to me through the Workers' Compensation Fund, as I sit as a trustee on their board. And I also want to personally thank Michelle for her hard work and dedication. With no further comment,
I think I've heard something. What is MAC? So it's the Michigan Association of Counties.
So with no further public comment, this meeting is adjourned. All in favor say aye. Aye.